So we are going to discuss the plate tectonics. Okay? Plate tectonics. So we'll complete the plate tectonics theory in a very detailed manner today. So you have an idea in yesterday's class what exactly are plates and how these plates move, right? So see, plates can be of three different types. Number one, it can be an oceanic plate, it can be a continental plate, and it can also be a continent come ocean plate. That means a plate can have a combination of ocean and it can also have a combination of land also, right? These are plates. Now you need to know boundaries. Boundaries are different from plates. Okay? The boundaries can be of three different types, right? If you have two plates can converge, two plates can diverge, two plates can transform, right? So plates are converging. Now where are they converging? They are converging at the boundaries. The area between them is boundary, right? So just give me a minute. And before I go any further, any doubts that you have in this Mandel convectional cell theory? ये clear है सबको? Right? There's too much of heat rises and diverges, and I told you this is the plate. This is the plate of the earth. This is an oceanic plate. This is also an oceanic plate. Right? Here the plates are diverging. What do you get to see here? These are middle oceanic ridges. These are called MORs, middle oceanic ridges. So is this diverging boundary or converging boundary? Divergent boundary. Okay? This is called divergent. Now, can you look into this particular area? Look here. This is perfectly the case of India and Eurasia. Okay, this is one plate and this is also another plate. These plates are colliding against each other. You'll call this as a convergent boundary. Now, if you look here, can you see, are they going and melting into the plate, melting into the mantle? They are not going to melt, right? But continuously, these convectional cells push them against each other, right? So this will be your India and this will be your Eurasia. Actually, Indian plate is somewhat beneath, it is somewhat beneath that plate. So here, one oceanic continental and ocean continent plate. The names of the plates yesterday I dictated to you. But there are boundaries. Plate boundaries can be of three different types. One, it can be convergent. Two, it can be divergent boundaries. Three, it can be transform. Right? Clear? So, every plate on one side it will have convergence, on the other side it will have divergence. Am I true? On every plate, on one side you will have convergence, on the other side you have divergence. I'll show you few images. You tell me what kind of plate it is. Convergent or divergent? Convergent. This plate is going and melting into the mantle. And yesterday I told you why this melts. Why is this melting taking place here? Because ये जो area है ना, it is made up of silica. Silica means mitti. That is nothing but the rock combination. Now silica plus, if there is any amount of water which is present in this, maybe there can be water which is present in this particular plate in the form of aquifers. So this goes down and it will lower the melting point. Maybe this rock's actual melting point is 400 degrees Celsius or 500 degrees Celsius. But if silica and water are mixed with each other, then the melting point will come down. यहाँ पे 350 degrees Celsius itself it can melt. But the actual melting point might be 500 degrees Celsius for this rock. Right? The melting point is lowered, and that's the reason why it is getting melted here. This is the perfect example. Okay, can you see this? It is getting melted. Next. Convergent, divergent. Divergent boundary. See, it is not divergence or convergence. This is also convergent boundary. Convergent again. So at the convergence, one of the plate will subduct. Right? One of the plate will subduct. Right? So here I wanted to show you in the case of India, how did this convergence and divergence happen. I'll show you a small image or a video. Look here. Imagine India before 250 million years ago. And during the continental drift theory, did I not tell you that India was somewhere in the southern hemisphere? Right? And India started to move. Now this is Madagascar, this is Africa, this is Antarctica, and this is Australia. See, India started to move towards the north. As and when it went, it is this plate, Indian plate, which went and collided with Eurasian plate. That means both the plates are moving against each other. But what is happening to the ocean in between? What kind of convergence is this? No. First, if you look here, today you have tall Himalayas. Now, yesterday we have discussed about the conditions of ocean continent. If continent collide, there is no subduction taking place. That means no plate melts. But if ocean and continent, see, in fact, in the first case, this is called an ocean. This is an ocean plate. And this is somewhere Indian plate. Our Indian plate is moving in this direction. Oceanic plate is also moving in this direction. And then this is continental plate. Right? Now this continental plate, what is this plate? Ocean. If ocean and continent are colliding with each other, who will subduct? Why? Density of the oceanic plate is more, so that's the reason why this part of the ocean went and subducted, melting was happening, and all this area of ocean, where did it go? Mantle. Into the core, maybe it might have reached near to the core, or else it is still traveling to the core. This is what it is happened. Right? This is the case of India. Now, see here, while India's journey was nothing, not so less journey, it is 250 million years plus journey. Right? This 250 million years is a long time. In the human geography side, in the environment, you will study that there are tigers. Okay, share. Tiger, do you find tigers in Africa? There are no tigers in Africa. Why? देखो, ये मानना है why tigers are not found in Africa. It is because the tigers might have evolved when India was somewhere in this part of the area. Maybe tigers might be the origin species of Eurasia. Because you see, today you will find tigers in 13 tiger range countries. Now take this as a homework. What are tiger range countries? What are tiger range countries? Tiger range countries means there are few countries where tigers are present. the countries in which tigers are present. Africa is not part of tiger range countries because tigers are absent here, but tigers are present in Russia, tigers are present in Indonesia. That means here, maybe the India, as and when it went and collided with the Eurasia, the tiger's origin might have taken place. That means the speciation, the origin of any species, you call it as speciation. Speciation of tiger, the origins of tiger might not be older than 60 million years. Okay? This particular event happened 60 million years before. Right? Now here you see continent, ocean. Now what is the name of this ocean? Tethys Sea. Right? That means, you see, continents are building up. Oceans are dying. No ocean in the world, no oceanic plate in the world is older than 250 million years. But there are continents that are as old as the earth is. The continents are as old as 2 billion years, 2.5 billion years. Whereas an ocean, the age of the oceanic floor is not more than 250 million years. Why? Because the always subduction is happening on the oceanic floor itself. Continental floor is not dying. The continental floors are not subducting because continent is lesser denser, ocean is more denser. So it is always the continents that go and rise, whereas oceans that go and sink. This is what you need to know. Right? So today you have Himalayas just because India and Eurasia collided with each other. Right? Now you see, you'll be surprised to see that in the next 250 million years later, how are you going to see the shape of the world? This is how the shape of the world is going to be. Tomorrow, there will no longer be Pacific Ocean. Australia will come and join with India. Okay? This is how the plates are moving in the next 250 million years. Look here. How Earth will look in the next 250 million years based on the plate tectonics theory. These are some models. So, first, everyone open the atlas and go towards the Pacific plate. I'll draw it. This is Australia, right? But what I'll do is, to show you Pacific Ocean, I'll again draw. So this is what is your Pacific Ocean, right? Do you agree? What kind of plate do you have here? Nazca plate. And what is the name of the plate here? Cocos. Okay? This is Cocos. And see, this is what is your Pacific plate. First, let me show you an image. Just a minute. See here. What I am drawing is, I am showing you the plate of Pacific. Look at this. Right? Now, is this Pacific plate? It is moving outward. That means the Pacific Ocean plate is moving in this direction. Right? And you find divergence here. At the divergence, what do you get to see? Divergence means this is a plate which is 200 kilometers thick, a piece of cake which is moving. Why is it moving? You already know. Now, across this, do you see mountains? Divergence means you will see mountains. Next. That means in the ocean you got to see the mountains. Now look at Pacific Ocean. This is an oceanic plate. Right? Next to the oceanic plate, what kind of plates do you have? You look into. Here you have continent. Right? Again, do you have ocean or continent? Here. Ocean. This is what is your oceanic plate. And is this ocean or continent? Ocean. That means this is how the movement of Australian plate is there. Philippines plate, is it ocean or continent? I given you the list yesterday. Philippines plate, is it ocean or continental plate? It is oceanic plate, right? This is oceanic plate. And this Philippines plate is also moving in this direction. Now see, Pacific plate is a bigger plate. In the Pacific Ocean, where are the new landforms formed, or where is the new formation of oceanic floor taking place? Online, offline? My question is, where is the new formation of oceanic plate taking place in the Pacific Ocean? क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? देखो ये तो पूरा ओशन है. I told you yesterday, the new oceanic floor is formed where? जहां पे ट्रेंच बन रहा है वहां पे subduction. Is the plate dying there or is the plate forming there? Dying. Plate formation कहां पे होता है? Middle oceanic ridge. देखो ये middle oceanic ridge में, now let me give you again one last time, I'll explain this again. See, you have to be very clear that new plates which are there, new land, in fact the ocean floor which is there, new is always formed here. ठीक है? Here and in the Atlantic Ocean, you tell me where is it formed. If this is the plate boundary, this is divergence. This is also divergence. Where do you find volcanoes? New sea floor कहाँ पे बन रहा है? यहाँ पे बन रहा है. Now this new sea floor is nothing but sea floor is spreading. Mean continuously there is a volcanic material which is rising and then it is pouring outward, because of which new land is formed. To make it little more simpler, let me first show you a small image here. Can you imagine this? Can you remember this for another 10 minutes or so, this diagram? Because I am going to change this. Is it not the same thing? This is, imagine this is your oceanic flow. This is your ocean. This is your ocean. From the beneath, there is lava coming out. अब देखो, यहाँ पे mountain बनेगा. Volcano comes out. Volcano. That means these are the freshly formed volcanic material. Right? After some time, what happens is that they move apart. Right? Yesterday I told you this. They move apart. That means new lava is coming and cooling there. Continuously there's new material being found. Now here is the place where wherever you find the middle oceanic ridges, wherever you find the rising lava, there is the place where you are going to find new landmass. Oldest landmass kahan par hai? I'll put the points here. You tell me. A, B, C, D. A and D is the place where oldest landmass. And सबसे oldest landmass kahan par hoga? On the ocean, the oldest landmass will be found on oceanic mass is nothing but trenches. Okay? On the trenches you will find. Okay. Now come back to the same diagram again here. You tell me, where do you find the old oceanic floor? Yes. Tell with respect to the names of the plate. So the oldest landmass is found at 1. This is the place where the oldest landmass is there. Do you agree? And yahan dekho the size of the plate, this is so small. Now you tell me, this is Aleutian plate. Okay? Aleutian Island. Yesterday I have told you, this is also ocean, this is also ocean. This is ocean, this is ocean. This is ocean, this is ocean. This is ocean, this is ocean. You might have asked, so where is ocean-ocean divergence taking place? Ocean-ocean moving out. Here, Nazca plate is moving and then followed by Pacific plate. Here, this is Cocos plate. Cocos plate is a complicated plate. I will tell you later on. It's a transform boundary. Now, this is continent. This is ocean. Look here. This part of the area is moving in this direction. And this plate is moving in this direction. Is it converging or diverging or transform? Transform ho raha hai. In fact, your Pacific plate is moving in this direction and this plate is moving in this direction. So in fact, one plate is moving in the forward direction, other plate is coming and hitting from the sideward. That means, don't you think there is some kind of friction which is there? And this friction is highest at a place called San Francisco. ठीक है? जहां पे सैन फ्रांसिस्को है वहां पे जो फ्रिक्शन ज्यादा है, you call this fault as San Andreas fault. San Francisco is a city which is beautifully built. ठीक है? So many billions of dollars have been invested there, but trust me, it is not worth in the next 500 years that city won't be there. ठीक है? No matter whatever you do, there will be volcanoes, there will be earthquakes, there will be large scale destructions that you get to see in the city. There's also a movie by the name San Andreas Fault. कभी टाइम मिला तो देख लेना. ठीक है? Exaggerated movie है, but still in that movie you'll get to know what is San Andreas Fault. Right? San Andreas is nothing but this is the fault. Because this is transform boundary. Okay. Now my agenda is to tell you that here is the place where you will find mountains and or ridges. The new landmass is formed next to this and oldest landmass is here. Up, this is your ocean, this is your ocean, 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 ocean. Convergence. So, will the Pacific plate, will it sink or the Philippines plate will sink, Australian plate or Aleutian plate? Pacific plate. Why Pacific plate will sink? How do you know it is older? Size of this plate is so big. Okay? That means a mountain, a landmass which is formed here, that might have traveled lot of distance. That means the wider the plate of the ocean, the older it will be. Right? You got it now? Now I'll show you the map of India, Indian Ocean map में. आप बताओ oldest landmass कहाँ पर है, youngest landmass कहाँ पर है? Yes. Tell me, where do you find the oldest landmass and where do you find the newest landmass? Tell me the names. Newest is? A, new. Do you agree? Y, present next to the ridges. B, is this new landmass? New. F, new. E, C, because it is far away from there. In fact, your Andaman Nicobar, which is there, there's a trench that is present. In fact, other side of the Andaman, this is called Sunda Trench. That means these are the trenches. These are the trenches. That means new plate is forming here and it is shifting and it is sinking there. Got it? So here is the oldest landmass. Now this is also oceanic plate. It is not continental plate here. So Indian plate is sinking under this. Now what is the directional movement of India here? Please look into your atlas. The directional plate of the atlas, the directional plate movement is right? This is the direction. So our Indian plate is moving towards north. This is continent and continent collision. Ocean and ocean. So trenches banega? Ocean. Where are trenches formed? Convergence plate of continent-continent. Will it lead to the formation of trenches? Trenches are only formed wherever there is an oceanic plate convergence is taking place. Either with the ocean or with the continent. Okay? Trenches are only formed on the convergence of ocean and continent. There should be an oceanic plate. If there is continent and continent plate, it will not be there. Ocean pe bhi. Dekho, your doubt is ocean, you will still have trenches. Where do you find them? Older oceanic floor. If you open your atlas, you will find Aleutian Trench here. Let me show you the names of the trenches. Look here. Kuril Trench. Look into your atlas. Aleutian Trench, Mariana Trench, okay? Tonga Trench. So that means this is ocean. Convergence pe bhi trenches hota hai. Trenches are the deepest places on the surface of the earth or within the ocean. Right? Okay. Now I'll take you back to the video which I wanted to show you here, how the world is going to look in the next 250 million years. Now you will understand why our Pacific Ocean is going to sink. In the further time period, you will not have any Pacific Ocean. It is going to die. See. With respect to time, you'll see the Pacific Ocean is completely gone. Why is it moving? Because the oceanic floor of the Pacific Ocean is going to die. So these kind of changes are bound to happen on the surface of the earth. So our earth is not a static entity, it is a constant move. In the atmosphere also you have seen the earth is moving on the land, in the surface, even within the surface, in the interior, the wind, silica, everything that is there on the earth is not a static entity. It is so dynamic entity. Broadly, this is what is going to happen. And the new continent which is going to form is called Amasia. Okay? Amasia. Pacific Ocean is going to shrink because from all the directions it is going to die. That means both the Americas and Asia are going to get together. So कल हर्ष ने पूछा था मार्सुपियल्स क्यों नहीं है, 250 मिलियन ईयर्स वेट करो तब मार्सुपिलियंस चंडीगढ़ में भी दिख सकता है. ठीक है, राइट. Got it? Now, in these conditions, what if I ask you a question? The study of plate tectonics or the study of the seafloor spreading theory or the study of the continental drift theory gives a varied insights into the changing environment. So, do you think India पे हमेशा इसी टाइप का environment था? India was once present in the polar region. इक्वेटर के पास भी था. अब ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर है, अब जाके चाइना के साथ लड़ाई कर रहा है. ये भी जोग्राफिकल लड़ाई है. ऑन वन साइड आवर वॉर्स आर बीइंग फॉट. सो इंडिया हैज गॉन थ्रू मल्टीपल क्लाइमेट्स. क्लाइमेट चेंज इज नथिंग न्यू टू अस. Climate change was there since millions of years. India was experiencing it. But the rate at which we have created the industries and changing the dynamism of the atmosphere composition, that is what is bothering us. So, animal species, they extinct and they survive. It is always said that whoever is the fittest, they will be the one who will be surviving. Now, those species who are there on this earth, they have fought millions of wars. I'm telling you, millions of wars, even including human beings. We are the pioneer species living on this beautiful planet. We can populate quickly. Our gestation period is just 9 months. But an elephant, gestation period takes 22 months. To make another baby, it needs to, gestation period is the amount of time that the elephant takes to give the birth. Mosquitoes, within 10 days. Likewise, the microorganisms which you cannot see replicate and die within just 24 hours. We human beings are ruling this because we are the ones, we are using the brain. We are not susceptible to the changes that are there, but we have learned and applied the knowledge that is there here. Right? So, the superior is always the earth and the environment. It is the man who is an entity in the changing dynamism. I mean to say that insan will be there for another 50-60 years, but when we are here, we should make sure that we should live in a sustainable way. Whatever we have seen on this beautiful earth, you should also give back to the next generations in a far better way. That's why I always tell you one thing. We do not inherit this earth from our ancestors. Rather, we borrow it from our grandchildren. So we have to leave the footprints in a sustainable manner. Right? Okay. Now coming back to our concepts. Chalo. There are 3 different types of plates and 3 different types of boundaries. Now, there can be convergence and divergence. ठीक है? There can be convergent boundary, there can be divergent boundary. Convergent boundary, it can be ocean. Number 1. First case is ocean with continent. You can see convergence. Right? In the second case, can you see the convergence in the case of continent and continent? And in the third case, it can be ocean and ocean. Did we learn all of these conditions here? Example बताओ. Ocean continent का? Nazca plate and South American plate. इन दोनों के बीच में क्या बना? Mountains which are called as Andes. इसमें वॉल्केनिज्म होता है? Volcanic Andes. Continent and continent. Example? And India. What do you get to see in between? Himalayan mountains. Do you have volcanism within them? Clear. Now, what is the example of ocean-ocean convergence? What do you get to see in between? Do you find trenches here? Name of a trench? Name of the trenches here? कुरिल, KURIL, कुरिल करके वहाँ पे कुरिलिया आइलैंड्स होता है. You can look into your atlas, especially someone who has this map. In your Oxford TTK atlas, you will have a map by the name. Okay, trenches are not given here. दिया है. Like this. In this particular map, you will get to see Peru Chile Trench. Or else there is a separate map of the trenches also. But you need not know all of these things. Can you remember these examples? ठीक है? I'll quickly show you ocean, continent, Nazca, South America. Look at the plates here. This is an example of, I'm spending little time here, but these are very, very important. This is continent, ocean, बीच में, Andes mountains and trenches. ठीक है? India, Indian plate with that of Eurasian plate. Convergence, Himalayas. Continent, convergence. Next, ocean, and you'll have ocean. So what do you get to see? Trenches plus mountains. ठीक है? Trenches plus mountains. And in this trenches plus mountains, here also you will see some kind of mountains. Do you have this volcanoes in the mountains? Yes, with volcanoes. With volcano. Earthquakes होगा? Can earthquakes be formed in these three cases? Yes, earthquakes. Yes for earthquakes. Right? Next, coming to the divergent boundaries. Divergent boundaries, what do you get to see? In the divergent boundaries, to explain these divergent boundaries, now I have to explain you the concept of sea floor spreading in the divergent boundaries. Now, whatever we have learned, this is the case of these three plates. Any doubts here? Online, any doubts? So after seeing what Gen Zs are doing, मैं तो कहता हूँ पिघल जाने दो ग्लेशियर को. This is what is Abhijit saying. So what does the Gen Zs do? Nice, good one. So, we talk so much about climate change, but if climate change happens, what are the positives for the Gen Zs? What are the positives of climate change? One, he says that Russia को फायदा होगा. चला, Russia, USA, everyone gets फायदा. Yes, why they get फायदा, you know? Because in this part of the area, this is for 3 months or 3 to 4 months, it is full of ice. Ships cannot move. So in this context, I also gave a homework last time. What is North Sea route? चलो ये भी homework की तरह ले लेना. Go home and check. What is North Sea route? What is North Sea route? North Sea route is, they wanted to explore, यहाँ से trade करने के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं. Next, he says that rate of photosynthesis will increase. Very good. See, Rate of photosynthesis is dependent upon the amount of the heat that is available in the atmosphere. Now, too much of heat, rate of photosynthesis will definitely increase. Next, what are the other advantage? Growing earlier, we grow our cultivation only till 50 degrees north. Beyond this, grasses and there. Now this area will become cultivable all throughout the year. Next, what more? No positives. Tourism. Polar tourism will be easy. Okay? Next, population distribution will be wider. The population is today, when you look into the concentration, this part of the region consists of 65% of the 70% of the population here of the globe. India, China, Southeast Asia, entire. Now this population can go and live in the other regions. But the biggest issue that India will face is people who are there in these islands, people who are there in nearby islands. Submerge हो जाएगा, कहाँ जाएंगे लोग? इंडिया की तरफ भाग के आएंगे, right? In that case, climate refugees will increase. We need to have a refugee policy. India do not have refugee policy. We don't have refugees. We don't entertain refugees to India. We did not sign an agreement with United Nations that if there is a refugee, we'll accept. But आप छुपा छुपा US पहुंच जाओ, you will become a refugee there. ठीक है? If somehow you landed in US, they cannot deny that they will wanted to send you out. They'll put you in some camps. You will not have the citizenship, but you will be in US. They will not. Some or the other way, you have to facilitate them. इसीलिए डंकी रूट बना था इंडिया से, ठीक है? That is the reason why they go through donkey movies also. The donkey route, and then they reach US. Once they reach, chalo, they'll lift their hands and then they stay in US. Somehow they escape and then they start to work there. ठीक है? Until and unless you are not in the eyes of the police department, you are safe. Once you come into the radar of the police, then comes the documentation and all. So they are always work in the rural areas. They don't get involved with the police. That is how they work. Right? This is also the case with most of the European countries. You see, most of the people from here, they always, Middle East, they wanted to reach to Germany, they wanted to reach to other countries. You know why? Germany has signed an agreement. If a refugee comes to Germany, we'll facilitate them. Right? But they did not close their borders properly. यहाँ से, in one or the other way, they reach there. Now they become the refugees. They cannot be sent back. But India do not have that policy. India simply brought CAA. I hope everyone knows what is CAA. Citizenship Amendment Act. We don't entertain refugees. The Bangladeshi refugees which are there, CAA is one of the way you wanted to get them out. One of the way. But it is also a way to facilitate the citizenship to the minorities of other religion. ठीक है? Okay. Now come back. Coming to the next case, that is divergent boundaries. So in the divergent boundaries, I have to explain you a concept by the name seafloor spreading theory. See, imagine you have two plates of ocean. Let's imagine this is also a plate of ocean and this is also a plate of ocean. Chalo. See, you'll have water above. just imagine this is a continent and this is also a continent, right? So beneath this, the image that I am going to draw, it should be imagined in this way, that this is your earth, this is your core, and you have inner core. From here there is rising magma that is coming up. Okay? Now this is the image that you need to remember. Let's take an example. An example is, imagine this is your Atlantic Ocean. Okay? If this is your Atlantic Ocean, please look into the Atlantic Ocean plate tectonics map. The case which I am trying to explain you is this. This one. I wanted to see here. First, let me draw the Atlantic Ocean itself. Identify this is your Atlantic Ocean. Right? Now what exactly is happening within the Atlantic Ocean? There is a plate boundary. Let me call this as a plate boundary. Now do you have convergence or divergence here? Divergence. Right? You have divergence. That means, let me again show it to you. This is one plate, this is another plate. Likewise, here also, your US which is there, this is one plate, and this is Eurasian plate. That means your Atlantic Ocean is a place where divergence is taking place. Do you agree? Everyone? I'll show you another image. Look here. This is how the divergence is taking place in the ocean. So Harry Hess, by a scientist named Harry Hess, this scientist, way back in 1930s, he was given a survey. He's a US guy. He's asked, please do the survey of the Atlantic Ocean and identify what do you have within the interior of the Atlantic Ocean. He's a military commander. He's a Navy commander, right? Now, his orders is to go and search what do you have within the interior of the Earth so that we can station our submarines. Now, with the help of a radar, they started to search the interiors. They also took some samples. They got to learn something new, that the Earth which is there, it is having different ages. Okay? And there are lakhs and lakhs of volcanoes which are there within the interior of the Earth. And they are so surprised. How come these many number of volcanoes are there? Now, they are not impacting the surface, but some changes that are there within the interior, they are going to see. Now, this, in 1935, this is the time period where Wegener's theory was given supporting evidences were given to the Wegener. Whatever Wegener told, first, Bullard karke ek banda hai. Bullard is also a Navy commander again. Bullard was given the task to go and do the studies of the either sides of the ocean. Bullard started to study the map of South America and the map of Africa, and at 1000 meters he has found exactly similar shapes with whatever South America had, Africa also had at a depth of 1000 meters. Now they are exactly matching with each other, jigsaw fitting. Now the evidence that Wegener has been validated only after Bullard started to do the work, because he's a Navy commander. Likewise, sea floor splitting gave evidence to the plate tectonics theory. Okay? Plate tectonics theory was validated only when mantle convectional shell theory and sea floor spreading theory came to the light. Now we are going to learn what is sea floor spreading theory and how it is being identified. There is also a relationship between sea floor spreading and the geomagnetism of the Earth. See, few days before I told you that Earth has two different types of poles. Earth's magnetic field keeps on changing. Now first I need to tell you one thing, that here, if this is your Earth, Earth has two poles. Now this theory, to understand, you also need to have some knowledge about magnetism and some knowledge about the seafloor spreading as well. Now this Earth, this is North Pole, this is South Pole, but Earth has an other pole by the name magnetic north, and this is magnetic south. See, poles are just imaginary axes. Now what is this magnetic north and magnetic south? In simple terms, you take the compass and keep this compass, a magnetic compass. You have two different types of compasses. One is a geographic compass, another one is a magnetic compass. When you take this compass and put here, in which direction is it pointing it out? It is always pointing towards the magnetic north, true north, right? You go and check next year, you will see that magnetic compass will not point here. Your magnetic compass might point somewhere here. Why? Because your magnetic north might have moved. Like this, every year it keeps on moving near about 30 to 40 kilometers. Now why? You have to wait one more day to understand this. But now let's try to understand that. If suppose, imagine there was a volcano which is present on the surface of the earth. Okay? Let's imagine this is where, this is somewhere around 250 million years before. This was the position of the magnetic north and magnetic south. Right? So, if suppose there is a volcano, imagine there is a volcano, and this volcano, it can be present beneath the ocean also, it can be present above the surface of the earth also. When volcano is coming out, the material which is there, is it hot or cold? Hot. Now this material comes from within the interior of the earth, it can come from deep inside. Right? Now this material, as and when it is hot, if there are any kind of ferromagnetic materials with them, ferromagnetic means कुछ kind of iron content or nickel content, any जो magnet से attract होता है. Rocks can be of that type, right? Now those rocks, before they cool down, if suppose a rock is formed here like this, now on this rock you will find the North Pole here and the South Pole here. That means the magnetic lines on this rock will be like this. Right? And once the rock is cooled, the magnetic field lines won't change. Remember this very clearly. Only when the rock is hot, the magnetic field lines will be formed. Once the magnetic field lines are formed on this rock, once it is cooled, the rock's magnetic field lines will not change. Until and unless again you melt it, and when you cool that, the magnetic lines will be formed as per that. Now let's imagine, this is 250 million years ago. You got to learn that this rock's North Pole is here, South Pole is here. Clear? Now, let's imagine we are moving towards after 100 million years. That means this is 150 million years now. I told you that this magnetic north and magnetic south pole, they keep on shifting their positions. Now after 250, the gap is 100 million years. Now within this 100 million years, don't you think this magnetic north might have changed its position? Imagine this magnetic field north which is there, it might have shifted here. And magnetic south might have shifted here. Again, see, what I'll do is, to not to get confused, I'll draw it again here. This is North Pole, this is South Pole. Now look at the magnetic north here. This might be magnetic north. And this might be magnetic south. Volcanoes will still be there on the earth, right? Imagine a same volcano which is there either within the interior or on the surface, whatever. If there are rocks that are coming out and this rocks has nickel, ferromagnetic or any magnetic properties with them. Now just imagine there is a new rock again which is formed. This is the rock which is formed. Rock matlab, dekho, I'm just, don't imagine the rock to be the size of this size. Now imagine there are lakhs and lakhs of tons of billions of tons of material that is coming onto the surface in the form of volcano, and it cools down. All the rocks which are formed in this period will now have magnetic properties like this. Instead, it's North Pole. Your magnetic field lines, this is magnetic north, right? Here it will be the North Pole and it will be the South Pole. Got it? Earlier, look. Now likewise, maybe after few hundreds of years or millions of years, your magnetic North Poles, they might have shifted like this. Now, what is the time period here? 150, let's call it as 100 million years. Now in the 100 million years, by this time, you have seen this is the North Pole, this is the South Pole, this is magnetic north, magnetic south. So true north is, this is north, this is south. Again, a volcanic eruption took place at this point of time. The rock which is there, you will see, very surprisingly, this rock will now have, this is South Pole is here, and North Pole is here. That means the magnetic field lines will now be What is the fundamental difference that you got to see between this rock? North Pole is here, South Pole is here, but now South Pole is here, North Pole is here. Orientation का फर्क है? What orientation? Magnetic poles का. अब साफ ये देख लेना. North Pole is here, South Pole is here. That means those rocks which were formed 250 million years ago, there can be a continent that can be formed, there can be a plateau that can be formed, there can be any rock that is formed, their magnetic field lines will be like this. But now, once they are cooled, it won't change. Until and unless a human being comes and tilts them. Human being can tilt 1 or 2 rocks or hundreds of rocks, but not the entire region, right? Right? Now, seafloor spreading theory came to light by understanding the magnetic properties of the rocks which are there within the interior of the earth. Interior of the sea. What happened is, this Harry Hess fellow, he went into the Atlantic Ocean. Okay? He went to this Atlantic Ocean, and then this fellow started to study the rock properties which are there in the interior of the ocean. In the due process, what he got to learn is, he got to see a large chain of mountains, and he found that this chain of mountains is nothing but the mountain ridges, and he called it as Middle Oceanic ridges. Now at the Middle Oceanic ridges, he found the anomaly of magnetic field lines. I mean to say, see here, Harry Hess went here because he has a ship, he has a radar, and he can study the rocks, he can dig anything, and he can do whatever you want. Because he is a Navy person. Right? Okay. हर्ष को लाइब्रेरी में एसी नहीं मिलता, तो इसीलिए आज कंप्लेंट करने आया. अभी एसी रिमोट से खेल रहे हैं. Yes. So, just imagine this volcanic material which has risen. Once it rises, the first chain of mountains of volcano formed. Right? Rock cup magnetic properties का. ठीक है? Clear with this? Next. Now let's imagine here what happens is that, don't you think, while the material which is coming out, volcano is nothing but a vent. This is a vent. And these materials are being formed here. Sometimes in this part of the region also there will be cooling happening. Right? Slowly you get to see that these two zones are being pushed. They will be pushed other side. This will also be pushed towards the left. Just a minute. To make it little more simpler, see, try to understand this. What I wanted to tell you is, volcanic material came and new rocks have been formed. Now this is called as ridge. I'll call this as ridge 1. Ridge 1. After another 10 million years or a few million years, what happens is that new volcanic material will come out. So this new volcanic material will start forming mountains here. Right? If continuous mountains are being formed, the volcano will be blocked. So what the volcano will do is, it will push out and will tear apart. And on the other side, do you remember the mantle convectional cells? This mantle convectional cells which are there, their work is to rise and then they diverge. This you know already? Right? समझ में आ रहा है? So, rising and taking place. Because of this, the plates will start to move aside. On either sides, you get to see this plate is moving further left and this plate is moving further left. And along with this, the mountains which are formed here, they will also move apart. Right? So for that, if I show you, here you will get to see this is getting subducted and the plate is getting melted. Now whatever is melted, through partial melting, it is going downward. Same way, melting taking place on the other side and then sinking. So here, if you see, the first chain of mountains that were formed will now shift sidewards. Okay? That means they will be present here. Next, after 150 odd million years, or 110, 20, whatever the million years, you will see the fundamental difference between, if this is the chain of mountains, imagine this is the middle oceanic ridge. Okay? First, a chain of mountains formed here. A chain of mountains formed here. Right? After some time, the plates move. When you look here, they got to learn that the north pole of these rocks are like this, and the north pole of these rocks are like this. South pole is like this. And it is very surprising to Harry Hess that the mountain chains that he is going to see, there are different anomalies of the magnetic field, and at equidistant they are present. That means, if I tell you, if there are chain of mountains like this is the second chain of mountainous ridge, and this is the second chain of mountainous ridge. When he went and identified, he found that the anomaly is south pole is here, south pole is here, north pole is here, north pole is here. So, from the middle oceanic ridge, this is middle oceanic ridge, white color, rocks equidistant away from equal distance from the middle oceanic ridge, they have similar age and similar magnetic field and similar rock structures. Likewise, you find another rock. Maybe these are next chain of mountains, and these are next chain of mountains. Now here, he gets to see this is north pole, again this is south pole. Again this is north pole, south pole. He was surprised. He went and studied the rocks elsewhere also. He got to learn that the rock of this and this, they are formed at the same time. This rocks and this rocks, they are formed at the same time. This rocks and this rocks have formed at the same time. At equal times, but there is difference in the magnetic north and south. With this, he got to learn that the sea floor which is there, it is continuously spreading. How does he get to know that sea floor is spreading? New ridges are being formed, and then already mantle convectional cell theory is given by them. So new ridges are being formed, and these ridges are changing their magnetic field. He was surprised. Why is this magnetic field changing? Because they are formed at different time period. And he went and studied all the volcanic material during that time. They are having similar kind of magnetic field. Why? Because at this point of time, the earth magnetic field lines might have been like this. Maybe at one time, this might be the earth, your magnetic north is here, the north pole hai, yahan pe bana. Magnetic north pole idhar hai, to idhar bana. So like this, he understood that our earth sea floor which is there, it is continuously spreading. It is spreading on one side and sinking on other side. Yes, continent se टकरा के it is always. Now you see, let me ask you one question. Suppose this is nothing but the youngest ocean floor. After few years, there will be sinking taking place. It will start to sink. That means new material will form here. Again, new material formed. And this material will start to shift its position. That means entire plate will start to shift its position. Right? Yes, here new plates is also formed. Continuously, you get to see the new plates which are there. Imagine the new plate will be formed here and this old plate will go and sink here. पूरी प्लेट क्या है, ये थोड़ी टाइम के बाद it will be here. Again new plate will be formed. Here new plate will be formed. And after some time, just imagine, धीरे धीरे, after few millions of years, it shifted here, again you got to see a new plate formed here. So after some time, this shifted here. So don't you think that a new plate is again formed here? New volcanic material is coming, adding. So like this, it shifted, it got shifted here. Now you see to new plate again formed here. Ridges are nothing but which are found on the surface. But beneath that plate is also being formed. There is volcano which is material which is coming up and ridges plus plate is being formed. ठीक है, दोनों ऐसा बनता है. It shifted here. Here, see, what I mean to say is that here you will not have any plate. Now this volcanic material, it pours in and it forms the plate also. Along with that, above, there are some small mountains or ridges that are formed. For suppose, just imagine, if this has shifted the place like this, along with this, the mountains which are there, they will also shift. That means entire plate, whatever is there above the plate, it is going to shift. Got it? Now finally, there will be a time where this is older, right? Who is older? It got older and it will go and sink because older oceanic floor is more denser. Why is it more denser? Aap batao. It is, this is A, this is B, and this is C. Who is more cooler? C is more cooler. The rocks will take some millions of years to structurize themselves and cool down to the core. C is more cooler. The more the cooler material will be more heavier. And then finally you will see that this material which is formed, it goes and sinks. This is the oldest material which is formed at the trenches. Sinking happened. Now new ridges have been formed. New sea floor is formed. Continuously the sea floor is getting formed and new sea floor is getting formed and the old sea floor is getting sinked. So in this manner you will see that any sea floor which is formed will one day has to go and die. That is subduct. That's why in your NCERTs it is written that the oldest ocean floor age is not more than 200 million years. But the age of the continent, you can date it back to 2 billion years. Now you understood? Now this is what is called sea floor spreading. And this is where the subduction taking place. So divergence of ocean, there is divergence. Clear? Yes. Can I call this as rising limb? Rising limb will lead to the formation of new continents. So, at the rising limb or divergence, will it lead to construction of new sea floor? Sinking limb or the convergence will lead to the destruction of the plate. So that's why divergent plate boundaries, you see here, That's why your divergent boundaries, they are called constructive your convergent boundaries. What will they do? Ocean is coming, it is sinking, it is getting destroyed. That's why your convergent boundaries are called as destructive plate margins or destructive plate boundaries. Now at the transform boundary, see, his Naveen's question is the sea floor spreading which is taking place. What is the impact of this sea floor spreading on the continent? In fact, your sea floor spreading is always adding volcanoes to the continent. देखो, continents ना साइज हमेशा उतना ही रहता है या इंक्रीज होता है, ठीक है, डिक्रीज नहीं होता. They can get submerged. There would be a time period where the size of the continents keep on increasing. Right? I'll come to your question. Come to you. Let's wait for a minute. Do you remember volcanoes are found on this plate? This is ocean. What is this? Continent. Best example is Nazca, and this is African nahi, South American. ठीक है? So, do you remember in yesterday's class I told you if there is something melting here, the material will start to come and volcanic mountains. So that means if continuous rising of this material is nothing but it is adding more landmass to the areas. मिट्टी कहाँ से बनता है? यही से बनता है, volcanism and all. New मिट्टी, new soil is nothing but new rocks with the help of rainfall. Maybe 1 centimeter of soil, it takes near about 1500 years to form. ठीक है, 1500 years to form 1 centimeter of soil, it takes sometimes more. So all this comes because of the weathering agents and all. These are natural processes which are there on the earth. We can't do anything. लेकिन आप जाके यहाँ पे टूरिज्म नाम पे घर नहीं बनाना है, ठीक है? Got it? It is, you have to have some common sense. If there is a river going on, you wanted to construct a concrete there and then stay. No, river will not listen to you. It will wash away one or the other day. That is what is happening in the Himalayas. Shimla dekha kabhi? Next disaster is going to be in Shimla itself. I'm sorry if someone is there in Shimla, but yes, next disaster is going to be in Shimla itself. Though it is not in a subduction zone, but it is overly populated. India mein, not just India, I think Shimla, in the entire Asian mountains, Shimla is the highly populated Himalayan region. 150,000 is the registered population of Shimla. What is the population of Manali? 30,000. ठीक है? In Chandigarh, in 1 square kilometer area, there are more than 10,000 people living there. That means not even 3 sectors you take, the size of 3 sectors population in Chandigarh, or the people who are staying in old Rajendra Nagar of New Delhi, that is the total population of not Manali. You got to see last year destructions in Manali, because Manali is built on the riverbed. You can't do anything. One or the other day Manali will be washed away. It is people, you have to build sustainably there. You should not go for concrete houses. You should always go for wooden houses there. ठीक है, सपोर्टिव होता है. आप कंक्रीट 4 फ्लोर बना रहे हो and you're digging too deep, you cannot, it may be a temporary arrangement that you can do for another 30-40 years, but there will be a day, one day there can be a small earthquake. Himalayas are not a stable belt. So sustainable development. And do you remember last year there was a road that was planned by the government of India and later Supreme Court scrapped it. It is, they wanted to connect the Char Dhams, Kedarnath, Badrinath, and they wanted to widen the highways. They wanted to make it 6-lane highway and 4-lane highway wherever possible. So what happens if you are constructing a bigger road on Himalayas? क्या होगा? Basically stability will be gone. See, when the roads are bigger, usually Himalayas get explored more. The vehicles which are there, heavy vehicles, while they go, there will be vibrations that will be taking. Now they are continuous vibrations. ऐसा नहीं है धीरे 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 धीरे, even with a sui or even with a small pen or a hammer, you can break this wall. So on a continuous basis, if there is vehicle movement that is taking place, the structure of the rock of Himalayas gets weakened. Earthquakes are quite common. A minimum 3 or 4 or 5 magnitude of earthquake can lead to the landslides. And because of that, once there can be a big landslide, it will block a river and the river will change its course. So again flooding will be there. So one disaster will lead to another disaster. So that's why learning geography will help you to understand how the distribution of population should be there. You go and Shimla is such a populated place that today it is not having any more bearability because tourism and all, you see, every year the local population is 150,000 Shimla, but people coming from outside, another tourism, it is going more than 1 million population per year. That is the total number of tourism it is going to attract. So movement, vehicles, kahin na kahin, water scarcity, there might be a summer, there might be extreme rain, El Nino, La Nina, which you are going to learn in the future. They'll impact them. Isiliye sustainable development. Bhutan, you see, what does Bhutan do? Not to happen, it understands its geography very well. If suppose you want to go to Bhutan, you have to apply to Bhutan that I wanted to visit Bhutan. Bhutan keeps a limit. Bhutan do not believe in economy, they believe in happiness index. What do they do is, they'll say, if you want to come to Bhutan, you apply. Every year, I'll only allow this many thousands of people as tourists. After that, I'll not allow. Because you come and you destroy my homeland. In the name of tourism, cultural impacts and economic impacts will be there. So it is not worried about the economy. All they want is, Bhutan mein jo natural environment hai na, usse bacha ke rakho, bas. And you cannot take your own vehicle to Bhutan. You know, if you have to take, you have to pay 3,500 per day. They'll charge you a pollution tax. And that is hefty. 2,000 rupees per day, they'll charge you pollution tax. Right? And a vehicle charge of another 3,000. So 5,000 rupees per day, you just need to pay for the government if you wanted to take it to your vehicle to Bhutan. Though Bhutan is visa free, only restrictive entry. But Nepal mein aisa nahi hai. Nepal is economical. They wanted to do business. Himalayas are there also. So now imagine if there is snow that is present in the Himalayas and your vehicle is running next to that snow. There, the soot of your vehicle which is there will start to deposit on the snow. Black color will attract more amount of heat and then it will start to melt faster. Right? More the faster the snow will melt. So, just by expanding the road, you are going to change the entire structure of Himalayas. Okay? Structure of Himalayas changes, then the population of Himalayas is gone. And one more thing, when you look from the economical angle, all the hill states in India, what do they have? Special category status. Okay? Now, this is nothing personal, I am just putting forward the viewpoints of the economical angle. Okay? What the economic surveys of previous economic surveys says. See, the cost of construction of the roads is extremely high in Himalayas as compared to the cost of construction of roads in the plain area. Do you agree? Yes. Electricity laying, costly. Next, in the name of tourism, we wanted to connect the Himalayas. Cultures are different, living styles are different, populations are different, their fooding habits are different, and the way they live, everything, the cultures are completely different. Culture is nothing but the way they live. Now, this is Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, then Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, as well as then you have Sikkim and the Seven Sisters plus one. Right? Now, these states, they have a special category status. Now, what do you mean by special category status? Because there is not much of economy that is involved, it has given some special categories. You go and look into Article 371 of polity. Ye homework hai aaj ke liye. Go and read about Article 371. In that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, ऐसे अलग-अलग articles होगा. Now there are some special provisions which are given to each of the states, especially the northeastern states, especially the underdeveloped areas of the country. Now, these areas, such as Karnataka, also have some special category. In that, Andhra Pradesh also, Telangana also has some special category under that. Now, what is the special category? They do not have economic category specials, but here, 90% of the total cost of the project, any project you take, be it construction of the road, be it construction of the bridge, maybe any funding that they wanted to give to this state, 90% of the funding should be given by central government and 10% of the funding will be given by state government. मतलब हर 100 rupees में 90 rupees will be given by the center. State government only 10. So sometimes when these kind of roads come up, you are already investing too much on Himalayas. You know that these roads are not sacrosanct. Every 3 years they are going to get again dilapidated. खराब तो होगा ही, दोबारा इन्वेस्ट करना है. ये पैसा कहाँ से आ रहा है? यहाँ से. See, certain kinds of geography, if you understand, again you need to link it with the polity, again you need to link it with environment. Basically, there are some surplus states. Now, again a homework for you. How many surplus states are there in India? Though this is not geography, but I'll give you an opening area so that you can open yourself and write. Because questions are not coming on the lines of what is there in the textbooks. It is always interlinking. Right? Look. Yes. See, these are very ecologically sensitive regions. Himalayas are very, very ecologically sensitive. कई सारे नए animals होते हैं जो कहीं और नहीं मिलता. You will designate it as a national park so that you can protect it. And the animals that are there, snow leopards, survey happened, they are present only in few states. Now, sustainably you go and have a tourism, right? For that you need not have a 6-lane highway. Maybe development perspective se अच्छा है, कोई no doubt. Now, see, there is a problem that cooperative federalism होना चाहिए. Now, what is this cooperative federalism? It means, no, cooperative federalism, that is different. Federation is different. Federalism is different. Cooperative federalism means sharing of taxes between center and state. ठीक है? For example, you buy a mobile phone, you pay GST. Sometimes you have seen CGST, SGST. State or center. अगर 100 rupees में आपने कुछ purchase किया, 18 rupees you pay it as a tax. Out of that 9 rupees will be taken and put into the state pocket. Another 9 rupees they keep with the center. Right? Like that, center is getting money from every state. तो सेंटर के पास बहुत ज़्यादा पैसा होगा, स्टेट के पास कम पैसा होता है. सो लाइक दैट द टोटल अमाउंट ऑफ इकोनॉमी दैट इज बीइंग ट्रांसैक्शन जो होता है ना, सबसे ज़्यादा इन स्टेट्स में है. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई वांट यू टू गो एंड लुक इनटू व्हाट आर द सरप्लस स्टेट्स इन इंडिया. हाउ मेनी स्टेट्स आर देयर? देयर नॉट मोर देन 5-6 स्टेट्स विच आर सरप्लस. दैट मीन्स ये जितना पैसा वो लोग कमा रहा है उससे ज़्यादा पैसा, मतलब वॉट एवर द मनी दे आर अर्निंग and they are giving it to the center, they get less from the center. In fact, they are the givers to the central government. ठीक है? The taxes they are collecting and giving to the central government. Later on, what does the central government do is, now total amount of money being collected by the central government here, what does it do is, it will give 42 rupees back. 42% of the total taxes collected, it will give back. So that is dependent upon many factors. How much population you have, how much greenery you have, how much work you are doing. Now, always the beneficiaries are these Himalayan states. Now, that is not liked by surplus states. Natural सी बात है. For example, let's imagine those people who are sitting in the back, they are not writing the notes. ठीक है? They don't take any notes. They come, sit in the class and they enjoy the class. Later on, those people who are sitting here using Atlas and all, they make beautiful notes. ठीक है? I made a policy that this class should be having a welfare policy. I wanted to help everyone who is there in this class. So I say, one of you to give your notes to these people and they don't come to the class. You sit and you explain, you help to them. On a fine day, rank 1 is from there Rank 12 is from there. They did not clear mains. How do you feel? I said you have to cooperate with them. You cooperated. There is always some kind of distress that will be there. आपको लगेगा चलो यार मैं कमा रहा हूँ, I am the one who am earning and I am giving to all of them. ठीक है? So these kind of issues will be there. Now these are geography driven cooperative federalism issues which we'll learn in the environment in detail. Right? But at the end, though we have come a long way from continental rift to this part of the region, but देखो हमेशा ना आंसर फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी में पूछा तो you demand, give the demand of the question, but at the same time many a times I am seeing the questions are not direct, it is mix. ठीक है? There was a question that Himalayas are not just acting as a barrier to the monsoons but are also acting as a cultural barrier. Himalayas are, there was a question in UPSC, these are Himalayas. Himalayas are not just acting as a monsoon barrier, but they also are acting as a cultural barrier. How will you write it? स्पेशल स्टेट ऐसे नहीं. देखो यहां पे आपने अच्छे से पढ़ लिया. मॉनसून विंड्स विच दे कम, you know that these monsoon winds are being blocked by Himalayas, right? So those people who are living south of the Himalayas, they need not need cold weather climates. Extremely cold weather nahi chahiye, but China, you go and see, it is snowing there. You'll have snow there, right? ठीक है? Just a minute. And those people who are staying, if you see, those people who are staying north of the Himalayas, you will find that they are extremely cold. Now, what is the way of the culture there? What do they eat? Cold climates में हमेशा meat is eaten a lot because crops are not grown well. But Himalayas are stopping the cold winds from the north to come to the south. They won't let the very, very cold winds which are present north of Himalayas to come to the south of the Himalayas. हाँ, जो ठंडा हवा होता है यहाँ पर, it will not let the cold winds to come. In fact, it is blocking the monsoon winds which are there, they are being blocked by them. ठीक है? Once they are blocked by these winds, now here culture, rainfall, fooding, cropping habits, festivals, are they not dependent upon all of these factors? Everything will change. Now when everything changes, here the cultural aspects will also change. So here you are supposed to write about the life forms of the Himalayas. Maybe tribal के बारे में जानते हो वहाँ पर, fooding habits. Wheat is grown here. ठीक है? Wheat is not grown there in the months of January, February because all ice is there. Clothing and all, they need to invest more on the clothes. Economy is cloth driven in the month of June, July, in the month of January, December. Wooling. Yes, that is Chinese culture. You'll have a different culture. In this manner, you need to approach. Okay, now come back. Is there any doubt in this part of the topic? Clear? Seafloor spreading is done. So now, divergent boundaries. At the divergent boundaries, what do you see? You will see the sea floor is spreading at the divergent boundaries and the oceanic floor is being formed. Oceanic floor is more denser and it is basalt in nature. Right? Basalt thoda density and heavy hota hai. Right? Best examples are middle oceanic ridge of the Atlantic Ocean. Now what is this middle oceanic ridge of the Atlantic Ocean? Let me once show you this middle oceanic ridges here. See, this is how your Atlantic Ocean looks. What are this? This is all a divergent boundary. And if you see, these are the ridges. ridges. Why you have these many scratches here? Yes. So I'll now draw. Next is transform boundary. What is this boundary called? Boundary is nothing but this. See, this is plate. Please don't confuse between the boundaries and the plates or margins. This is plate. This is plate. And this is boundary. What kind of boundary is this? Now, what kind of boundary is this? Now, how am I supposed to draw? If this is a transform, one plate is moving in this direction and the other plate might be moving in this direction, or one plate is moving in this direction and the other plate might be moving in this direction. Okay? Or else cross-sectional view also is right. It is like this. So this is called as transform boundary. You are aware of divergent boundary, you are aware of the convergent boundary. Now this divergence can take place in two cases. One, this can be ocean and this can be ocean. In this case, you formed middle oceanic ridges. It can be continent and it can be continent. In this case, what do you get to see? In either cases, volcanoes are bound to happen. Volcanoes are bound to be there. In either cases, you will see the volcanoes. Sorry. My bad. This is middle oceanic ridges are here. Middle ocean, convergent. So in the convergent, mountains plus trenches. Mountains plus trenches. Now Munendra says, asks a very good question here. Sir, when there is continuously forming of sea floor, then why Pacific will disappear after 250 million years? He asked me a question. Sir, when there is continuous sea floor forming on one side and there is continuous subduction of the sea floor on the other side, why will the Pacific Ocean is vanished? मतलब कुछ लॉजिक होना चाहिए ना इसका. वो लॉजिक क्या है? लेट मी शो इट टू यू. इफ यू कैन सी द स्पीड्स हियर, यहां पे ना छोटे छोटे नंबर्स लिखा है 12, 16, 0.5, 3.5, 2.5, 2.8. It is every year 2.8 centimeters, it is new seafloor spreading is forming. And you might have heard about the height of Himalayas is increasing by every 1 centimeter, near about every 1 centimeter to 2 centimeters in every year. Why is it increasing? Because both the plates are colliding and finally they are rising. In fact, the collision is happening because beneath the plates there is convectional cells. So see here, look at this plate. Every year 16 centimeters of the land is being formed. 16 centimeters of the oceanic floor is being formed here. And here 12. Here 6. Here 10. सबसे ज़्यादा यहाँ पे बन रहा है ना. Subduction will also be there. And see, these are transform boundaries. Can I call this as a transform? It is the rate. See, if the rate of formation as compared to the rate of subduction is more, then you will see the plate is absent. ठीक है? And I hope everyone have attended the previous classes. पक्का? अगर previous classes attend नहीं किया तो ये Greek and Latin होगा. मैं पहले ही कहा था starting में ही, in the day 1, 2, 3 itself, if you are missing any classes, then समझ नहीं आएगा geography. इसलिए मैं रिक्वेस्ट किया था, do not miss any classes. अगर आपने मिस किया तो प्लीज go and attend the online. Right? It's nothing but, Munindra, it is the rate of movement of the plate is faster here. Sorry, it is slower here as compared to the movement of sinking. That's the reason why the size of the plates gets shrinked. हाँ, फॉर्म लेस हो रहा है और सबडक्ट ज़्यादा हो रहा है. ठीक है? वो सबडक्ट ज़्यादा क्यों हो रहा है मैं आगे समझा दूंगा, because for that I need to explain you what is oceanography and how the formation of the mountains takes place as well. See, there are some mountains called Ural mountains here. The height of Ural mountains is not increasing, but the height of the mountains of Himalayas, they are increasing. क्या? ये कन्वर्जेंट बाउंड्री है, ये भी कन्वर्जेंट बाउंड्री था, अब बाउंड्री नहीं है ये. ठीक है? क्यों? मैं आगे समझा दूंगा. इंडियन ज्योग्राफी. एंड बिफोर वी स्टार्ट इंडियन ज्योग्राफी विल बी डूइंग सम मैपिंग. ठीक है? फ्रॉम नेक्स्ट मंडे इज विच डेट? 11th or 10th. So from next Monday or Tuesday, by then I want all your atlas. क्योंकि कई सारे बच्चों को ये दिक्कत आ रहा होगा, if I am taking some names, San Andreas, Aleutian, you don't know where are all this present. So first we'll do mapping in the further time period. That will become easy for you. ठीक है? उस मैपिंग से क्या होता है, you will become comfortable with the places. Right? So meanwhile, just bear with me for another 3-4 days. All will be well. Okay. Yes. Shaurya has asked, so Indian plate, it is converging here, right? His question is that if it is converging, there should also be divergence that is taking place. So you tell me, where is the divergence taking place? Yes. ये डायग्राम कहीं देखा है? This is what I have shown you, no? Right? Yes, the plates are moving, but not the continent. See, it is, you have read with respect to the Wegener's theory में पढ़ा होगा. Naveen says that, sir, I have read that only the plates are moving, not the continent. Continents won't move. Wegener ने क्या कहा? What did Wegener say? So he says that his question is, in your NCERT it is written as कॉन्टिनेंट कहाँ पर है? प्लेट के ऊपर ही है ना? इज कॉन्टिनेंट मूविंग? नो. वेगनर थॉट दैट कॉन्टिनेंट्स आर मूविंग, ओनली कॉन्टिनेंट्स. वेगनर का कहना क्या था? व्हाट वाज द व्यू पॉइंट ऑफ वेगनर? कॉन्टिनेंट्स आर मूविंग, बट हाउ द कॉन्टिनेंट्स वर मूविंग? मैंने कहा था ना, ही थॉट ऑल दिस कॉन्टिनेंट इज अ लैंड मास, ही डोंट नो अबाउट प्लेट्स. उनका कहना यह था दैट इफ देर आर वेव्स दैट आर कमिंग इन, these waves are coming and pushing the continent, so continent is moving. वो practical है नहीं. वेगनर का thought process ये था, this continents are moving. Is this continents moving? No. In fact, the plates are moving. Right? So Wegener point of view is like this. If India is this, Wegener will be thinking that waves are coming and hitting the India. ठीक है? इस waves के कारण only this part of India is going and colliding with Eurasia. If he has the knowledge, or simply he says that this entire waves are moving the continent. It is not the continent that is moving, it is the plate. This entire plate is moving. हाँ, yes, plate सबके साथ चल रहा है. That is the deeper meaning of the words that are written in your NCERT. It is written on the beginner's side itself, right? Right. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the transform boundary. For transform boundary, again, I want you to look here. See, transform boundaries conditions are this. What happened here? Where is our board? Yes, Afghanistan and so. Chalo. Look here. One, there should be, on one side, the plate will be moving in unidirection. On the other side, either it should come and hit from the cross section or it will be moving in opposite direction. Can you identify this part of the area? Indian plate is moving in the north and Eurasian plate is moving downward. So here is the place where transform boundary is there. Now wherever you find transform boundary, the plate is neither created, the plate is neither destructed. Plate destruction matlab kya? Destruction in simple terms means it should go and sink into the mantle. Now that sinking is not taking place. Continent mein that plate is not going and sinking. Right? Destruction of the plate is not taking place. But definitely destruction activities are taking place, such as earthquake. Right? Here you will find large scale earthquakes. Hamesha aap news articles dekho, whenever there is an earthquake in Himalayas, epicenter is in Kabul, epicenter is in Afghanistan, epicenter is in the Pakistan. So this is the area of the Pakistan and Afghanistan region. That's the reason why you have high number of earthquakes here. Likewise, you also look into, just a minute, frictional forces. Just a minute. Yes. Okay. See, either the plate should move in opposite directions or the plate should move in cross-sectional view. Now, where do you find these kind of faults? We need to look into, right? There are few areas, and wherever you find middle oceanic ridges, next to the middle oceanic ridges, you will find these faults. See, major transform faults across the globe, if you look into, they are found here at this San Andreas. Look at this San Andreas. Here, this is called Juanda-Fuca plate, and it is moving towards the north. Now, American plate, you see, it is in transform nature. Okay? This plate is transform in nature. It is actually coming from sides, and this plate is moving towards the north. Because of that, here there is a junction. If you zoom in and see, even on the Google Earth, you can find that the transform natures. Because of that, this city is going to die in the upcoming time period. Literally die means you will see there will be days coming in the next 500 or 1000 odd years. This city is no longer going to be there. Can you see this? यहाँ rugged topography दिख रहा है आपको? This is transform boundary. And if you go a little more north, this is all transform. This rugged topography is primarily formed because this plate is moving in the north and this part of America is moving towards the west. Okay. Best example is San Andreas. Now come. Along with San Andreas, come to Afghanistan. You can also look into your atlas. This is the plate of Eurasia, which is moving in this direction. And this is the plate of India, which is moving in this direction. Isn't this a transform boundary? Yes, now it is very clear. यहाँ पे fault, this is transform fault. ठीक है, fault is nothing but breakage of the continent. ठीक है, that is called as fault. Don't you see a breakage of the continent here? This. Clear? This is another example. Another example is, you will find it in African region. Here, between Saudi Arabia and Africa. This is a small plate by the name Saudi Arabian plate. This plate is moving towards the north and this plate is moving towards the south. Southeast, मतलब east side है, तो यहाँ पर भी एक plate है. और जहाँ जहाँ transform boundaries होगा, वहाँ वहाँ earthquakes are bound to happen because crust is neither created nor destroyed, but it is rupturing. Continuous rupturing will lead to destructions and large scale destructions will be there. Now Himalaya, very surprisingly, Himalayas are present in one on the convergent zone and on the transform boundary. Look at this Himalayas. You have a dual disaster. एक तो mountains है, यहाँ से Indian plate, वहाँ से Eurasian plate is colliding, and then you have this transform boundary. Earthquakes are created here also. Earthquakes are created here also. Why these earthquakes are created here? It is because if this is your crust, I'm making them to move against each other. The crust movement will be, it gets thinned and then mountains will be formed. That mountains formation is nothing but folding of the crust will lead to earthquakes. Right? So, this is how the Himalayas are prone to disasters. Apart from this, landslides, river, glacier meltings, flooding, you name a disaster, you will get it there. Right? सबसे ज़्यादा earthquakes नेपाल में इसीलिए है because in the Nepal earthquakes, it is majorly the capital city Kathmandu, that is where you have a small fault, very small fault, 30-40 kilometers की fault है, छोटा सा fault है. And faulting, you learn in Indian geography in a little more detail. There are many fault lines on India as well. ठीक है? Now what are fault lines? Simply, imagine this is a plate and this is also a plate. So you're pushing this plate from either sides. What happens to the crust? The crust gets thinned and this is how the crustal formation deforms. And there will be a point where you press more and more, these mountains get broken. Or they'll create a crack like this. You start to press more and more, you'll have a cracks like this. These cracks are called faults. Joshimath. Last year you might have heard about Joshimath sinking because Joshimath is present on this particular area. Sinking in the sense the continent is not sinking, it is sliding down. So in this manner, transform faults are always dangerous faults. They are more dangerous than convergent faults. Now of the entire India, which is the safest place to live with respect to disasters? Which is the stable landmass? It is Deccan Plateau. Southern hills. यहाँ जाओ सुनामी से, यहाँ पे भी आओ सुनामी से. Basically, the Deccan Plateau which is there, this is least prone to disasters of large scale, but it has its own challenges. One, drinking water का facility नहीं है. Rainfall इतना ज़्यादा नहीं होता. Decent amount of rainfall is there. If anyone who would like to place their industries, these are one of the finest areas. Apart from, with respect to natural disasters or so. Right? So, most stable landmass of India is the southern plateau, that is Deccan Plateau. You learn it in Indian geography in a detailed manner. Okay? 200 kilometers tak cyclone impact can be there. Shaurya's question is that if there is a cyclone coming in, if it is hitting it, the impact can be there for 200. But till 200, itna large scale impact nahi hoga. 20 to 30 kilometers into the coastline, you will see large scale impact. That's why major industries, they would not like to go on the east coast of India. Okay? Only exceptional industries, they'll go. Even if they are going, they'll go for a very big tree line. Forcefully, there was an industry that was set up in Visakhapatnam. That is nothing but your Visakhapatnam steel plant. Okay? It was forced to set up there. Though there are no resources there, it was set up. But today, you look into current affairs, they are asking that Visakhapatnam steel plant to privatize. Q, it is not making profits, it is making losses. There is no coal nearby, it has to be imported from few hundreds of kilometers away. ठीक है हर Now again there's a good question coming in. He says, sir, how is Japan being able to manage technology? Yeah, innovate karo aisa technology. For example, if sea level is rising, construct your homes on a boat. Floating houses. That's the solution. Right? You can live anywhere then. Kerala. Kerala, these are boat houses in Kerala are different. They are riverine houses. Again, go and search who are boat people. Boat people. ये आउट ऑफ कंटेक्स्ट वाला है, ज्योग्राफी नहीं है. घर जाके होमवर्क की तरह देख लेना, इट विल वाइडन अप योर थिंकिंग. बोट पीपल आर दोज पीपल who do not have any citizenship. They stay in the boats. They're staying in the boats since hundreds of years. They're not given citizenship in Bangladesh. They're not given citizenship in India. These boat people keep on moving on the boats itself. ठीक है? ये भी तो सही है. All they need is some resources which they get through one of the refugee policy. मोहाली इतना dangerous area nahi hai. Earthquake in India, there are 4 major zones of earthquake. Himalayas are very most prone to dangers, and Gujarat, Bhuj, and some parts of peninsular India across the Bhima fault. Earthquake prone, but we have technology today. Even an earthquake of 9 magnitude also, the buildings can survive, especially the buildings of Japan. How are they able to construct? Japan, every year you'll have earthquake. Every month you'll have an earthquake. Why you'll have highest earthquakes in Japan? Again, transform fault. Can you identify this transform fault here? Philippines dekho. Philippines plate, it is moving southward. And this plate is in this direction. So that's why there's large number of earthquakes. Japan is prone to earthquakes. And one more thing. I have to tell you another concept by the name Pacific Ring of Fire. What is this Pacific Ring of Fire? See here. This is called the Pacific Ring of Fire. This one. The boundary of the Pacific plate is also called as the Pacific Ring of Fire. Why? वहाँ पे regular why eruption takes place? It is convergent, transform. convergent, transform, convergent and transform. So, do you remember wherever there is convergence of continent and ocean, do you have volcanoes? See here, this is ocean, continent, mountains and volcanoes. Ocean, continent, transform. In few areas it is transform, few areas it is convergent. So volcanoes, mountains. And this, mountains, islands with volcanoes. Here also, mountains, islands with volcanoes. Here also, you will find islands with volcanoes, islands with volcanoes. This entire area will be having volcanic activity. Every day you will see one or the other volcano rising in this area, and this is called as Pacific Ring of Fire. It looks like the Pacific Ring of Fire. Pacific Ring of Fire is a place where either the convergence of the ocean with the continent, or convergence with the ocean, or transform of ocean. So that's why this entire area is called as Pacific Ring of Fire, because there is continuous volcanic activity you will get to see in this part of the region. Wait, I'll show you a diagram. This one. Look here. If you have your atlas open, go to South American map. Go to South America map. Find Cotopaxi mountain. It is here. वहाँ पे ना, in your atlas it will be mentioned like this, with red color, mountain. With red color mountain, in your atlas it will be mentioned. If this is your South America, this is where is your Cotopaxi mountain. ऐसा red color के साथ छोटे छोटे hills दिखाई देगा. Red color dots. In वहाँ पे कौन सा dots है? Black. In Oxford Atlas it will be in black, mountains and all. Now they are an indication that these are, go and look into the physical map, not in the political map. Physical map में देखो. See, your atlas has two different types of maps. One, this is political map where states and all are given. This is physical map. In your physical map, if you go and check in the atlas of TTK Study Today publications here, छोटे छोटे red color dots दिखता है आपको. And in your normal atlas, there are some triangles which you can get to see. See, for online people, here you will see some triangles. Now these triangles, they are none other than the volcanic mountains. वहाँ पे mountain भी है और volcanoes भी है. Likewise, you go and look into the continents here. You will find trenches and volcanoes. Now to make some sense, again I'll play the video which I have played few days before and yesterday also. Every time you watch this video, it will enlighten your imagination. And look out for the volcano at the end and look from the perspective of plates, and there is rising volcanic material. You know that why is this rising? Mantle convectional cell theory. Right? Clear. Next, differential heating in the interior of the earth. Rising. Can you see this point? See, watch out for the micro aspects here. Okay, you will literally see the plate is moving. Okay? New sea floor is formed, and can you see this moving of the plate? And one day this part of the region will go and subduct. This is ocean, subduction is taking place. Divergence, subduction. Divergence, subduction. Right? Why is this subducting? Because it is cold and यहाँ पे temperature कम है, radioactive material सबसे ज़्यादा है, rising and diverging and sinking. Right? Now, once you go and look into wherever there is convergence of the ocean and the continental plate, see, let's try to understand. Maybe, can you see this as ocean? And ये सब ओशन है. This plate is subducting. Now from now on we'll use the word subducting. ठीक है, instead of sinking, subducting into the mantle. So if this is sinking or subducting, what happens? Will it not melt? ये melt हुआ. तो melt होगा तो क्या होगा? Why it melted? Tell me the reason. I've told you. One, this is silica. मिट्टी बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, and the scraping of this material can take place. Can you see? If this plate is moving in this subduction direction, don't you see the material which is there here that will get scraped? The scraping will start to add material here, and one fine day you will see an island rising here. Now this is called as accretionary wedges. ठीक है, scraping of the oceanic material will lead to the rise in the material, oceanic material. That is called accretionary wedges. There can also be a trench, but trench is here. ठीक है. So broadly speaking, this melting which went and subducted, it got melted here because silica plus water, when they are mixed with each other, melting point of the rock comes. Now from here you will see they will start to rise. All the material got to melt, and from here you got to see a volcanic material finally came up. Now is this volcano present on the subducting plate or on the other plate? Always the volcanoes are on the other plate, not on the subducting plate. So see here. Watch it till the end. Can you see the scraping? That means material will be adding. Now this is your trench. From the trench, on the other side of the trench, there will be islands. So ये melting हो रहा है. आपको पता है क्यों हो रहा है? Then it is rising. This is how you will get to see the volcanoes. Now these volcanoes are present across the boundaries, across the plate boundaries. So let me show you. Can you repeat the question? Ridges, yes, they are also type of volcanoes. Now, can you imagine this? What do you mean by Pacific Ring of Fire? Pacific Ring of Fire में क्या हो रहा है? This is what is ocean, continent. Ocean, 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 ocean. हाँ, हर जगह, in fact this. So this is the place where one plate is subducting, that is oceanic plate, melting, and then rising on the other plate. That's why you find all the volcanoes to be present, the major volcanoes of the globe are present here. And set of volcanoes are called as Pacific Ring of Fire. It is a very active zone, जहाँ पर volcanoes भी है, earthquakes भी है, trenches भी है. Earthquakes, volcanoes and trenches. Now the name of the trenches are just given by the islands that are present next to it. This is the place where you will find Aleutian Islands. ठीक है? And this is the place where you will find two islands by the name Japan and Kuril Islands. ठीक है? इसीलिए Kurulia Trench, Japanese Trench. And then you will find an island by the name Tonga. ठीक है? Honga Tonga. 2022, there was a large scale volcano which erupted, and that volcanic material went into the stratosphere also. ठीक है? That volcano got erupted here. इसीलिए very strong volcanoes will be there. When I teach you about the concept of volcanism, you will be mesmerized to learn why is that material which is being sinked, ठीक है? Why is the material which is sinked is actually rising up, and why not it is sinking? My question here is, I've shown you a video, right? In this video, why is that when there is a material that is sinking, or when is a subducting plate that is sinking, why is it rising? Yes? Potential difference of what? हाँ, usually it is simple physics, boil हो रहा है तो it is rising. But there's a concept of partial melting which I'll explain during the volcanism concepts. You'll get the complete clarity of geomorphology in the volcanism chapter. Shaurya's question is that sir, volcanoes हमेशा mountain की peak पे बनता है या surface पे? Volcanoes can be of two different types. One, a conical one. Other, fissure type. Fissure type and conical type of volcano, if you look into, let me show you. This is called fissure type. Okay? Simply the earth separates and flows. Another type is conical. Which are more dangerous? Who has more temperature? आंसर दे रहे हो तो रीजन भी देना चाहिए मुझे, ठीक है? Which has more temperature? This one or this one? Why? No. It is actually this volcano which is basalt in nature. It has more temperature. It is acidic volcano. ठीक है? ये acidic in nature है, ये basalt in nature है. The fundamental difference is that acidic volcanoes have less temperature. Basaltic volcanoes have more temperature. सिलिका का भी कॉन्सेप्ट होता है. इसमें कम सिलिका है, इसमें ज़्यादा सिलिका है. Why and all I'll explain in the further classes. No, basically material. I have to explain a concept called bovine series. Bovine series means as you go into the interior of the earth, the mafic material जहाँ पे सिलिका का मिट्टी का कंटेंट कम होता है ना, वो वाला मटेरियल होता है. If the volcano is coming from the deeper, then that is basalt in nature. It is acid, it is basic in nature, जिसका टेम्परेचर बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. If the volcano is coming from near to the surface, maybe 100, 200, 300, 400 kilometers, that volcano, it is acidic in nature. Or if you pour water into the volcano, then that volcano will be very violent. You go to Iceland, see, आज भी आइसलैंड में ना, there are hundreds of trucks, they are trying to divert the volcano. Yes, a little science. I'll explain in the further class. You are right. Watch here. The Iceland, the biggest problem is you have fire and ice together. Volcanoes may, if you add more water, they'll become violent. Why? Silica plus water will reduce the boiling point and they become acidic. ठीक है? Silica plus water, they'll reduce the, just a minute. These are the live images, not just 1 or 2. They are just 2 or 3 months old. This is how the volcano is rising up. They are not having any cones. Simply they fissured out from the land, and there is continuous volcanic material that is rising. इनका रोज का काम है ये आइसलैंड में. Like we have Army, Navy, Air Force, National Disaster Management which deals with flooding. They have a disaster management which deals with volcanoes. Look here, this volcano and these fellows are taking care of it. These are the disaster management of volcano. They have a separate team. So they know that they are present next to one of the faulty lines, दो plate boundaries, जैसे North American plate and the Eurasian plate, they go and meet exactly on Iceland itself. There is tourism here. You can pay and you can go. How softly the volcano is moving. This volcano is called basalt volcano. जिसके अंदर मिट्टी कम होता है, और ये जो वॉल्केनो काफ़ी डीप एरिया से निकलता है, और जो मटेरियल है वो मैफिक है, मतलब इसके अंदर जो मटेरियल्स होता है उसके अंदर देर इज नॉट मच ऑफ सैंड प्रेजेंट, राइट? So fresh rocks can be seen here, and this will become very fertile soil after few thousands of years. That means there's ice and there is fire. This is how you'll get to see. The challenges of Iceland are way different. ठीक है? In the morning times, I'll show you the morning time one. You'll get a real picture of it. Literally their city is gone. This is one of the city which is lost in the 21st century. Can you see this image? This entire city is gone. Entire city in this century. It is hardly 6 months before this city is gone. Now imagine you are living in one particular place, and all of a sudden a natural disaster has taken away your, not just one, entire city I'm talking about. Think of Joshimath, think of this Reykjavik's. Likewise, you collect 3-4 examples across the globe where cities are gone because of natural disasters and quote in the answer. Examiner will feel enlightened. ठीक है? So we'll stop here and we'll continue with tomorrow classes. And see, volcano, especially the basic volcano which is there, it will always tell you I am going to come out. Please move out from that area. ऐसे आप volcano के साथ चल सकते हो. You can play with that, but not touch it. The temperatures are more than 1200 degrees Celsius. You put your finger, your bone will also not be there, right? And highest research of volcanism always happens in Iceland itself, because that is where the material comes out. But volcanoes, before they come out, what do is they give you earthquakes of short tremors, not very big tremors. द आइसलैंड में जब वॉल्केनो बाहर आ रहा था ना, पिछले 5 महीने से आइसलैंड में कंटिन्यूअसली एवरी डे देयर आर अर्थक्वेक्स ऑफ शॉर्ट ट्रिमर्स. नाउ in the last 24 hours before the volcano started to come out, there are some smokes that will be coming out from the city. Literally from this city it came out. This is the image before. Later images, the city is no longer there, it is completely gone. Tomorrow, if there is possibility, I'll show you the real images, because I have few connections who are working in these departments also. Right? So there 1400 earthquakes in less than 24 hours. That was the signal that was given by this basic lava. डैमेज अर्थक्वेक के कारण कोई डैमेज नहीं है, बट वॉल्केनिक के कारण द सिटी इज नो लॉन्गर देयर. ठीक है? कंप्लीट सिटी इज गॉन नाउ. नो सिटी इज देयर नाउ. क्या? पॉपुलेशन मूव करना पड़ेगा, सिटी मूव करना पड़ेगा. नाउ दैट एंटायर सिटी, इट इज अ बिग ब्लो टू द आइसलैंड्स इकोनॉमी. दिस ए ब्यूटिफुल व्हाट डू यू से, हॉट स्प्रिंग्स. That hot springs were also there, but today it is one of the tourism entity. This is how cities are gone. We'll stop here online. Tomorrow we'll continue. ठीक है? All the plate tectonics is clear. We have done the convergent boundaries, the divergent boundaries, ocean continent and continent. अबिसल प्लेन्स ओशनोग्राफी में पढ़ेंगे. ठीक है? जो प्लेन एरिया ओशन में होता है उसे कहते हैं अबिसल प्लेन्स. ठीक है? जो माउंटेन ओशन के अंदर है उसे सी माउंट कहा जाता है. जो माउंटेन के ऊपर टॉप एरिया जो है फ्लैट होता है उसे कहते हैं गुयॉन्स. ठीक है? तो अलग अलग लैंडफॉर्म्स जो है ना, वो उसमें अंडर वाटर में होता है. इनफैक्ट द प्लेन्स ऑफ द अंडर वाटर आर वे बिगर देन द प्लेन्स ऑफ द लैंड. Vegetation is more, life forms is more. minerals, forests, everything is more on the water than on the land that you get to see. On the land, the scale of minerals that you find are peanuts. The real minerals are always found in the ocean. ठीक है, इसीलिए there is a common global area. You can explore your ocean only up to the 200 nautical miles. ठीक है, ideally. There are some exceptions. Beyond that, it is international area. So India is trying to explore some minerals in the Indian Ocean, which is not an Indian territory. What is the name of that seamount? कल बताना मुझे. Adani का नहीं. It is the government of India has applied. Afanazi Nikitin seamount. Yes. Thank you.